their number one player. Have you seen any difference in their style of play?
Well, he was a great player. There's no doubt about it. He could score. He could create shots for other players. And over the last couple games, you saw where they, at times, were looking around a little bit. I think that was more in the Canisius game. But in the last 2 games, they've really evolved and have played well. A tough loss to NC State, but a great win against Duke. The components of their program remain the same. You don't have a program like Mike has built without, at times going through some tough times that they're going through right now. But they move the ball well. They share the ball exceptionally well. They can really shoot from the perimeter. And with Sherman inside, he is playing exceptionally well. I think it's 11 or 12 straight double-figure scoring games for him. And that's a testimony. Everybody should take a look at him, because I think at one time last year it was 9 or 10 games in a row where he didn't even play. And he just kind of kept fighting, played well at the end of the year, and just kind of carried that over to his senior year.
Mike commented today on how he thought Georgia Tech really goes hard to the boards even without Rob Carter. I imagine that's something you're going to have to continue to do.
Well, we didn't do a very good job of it at Duke. That was out of all the things, was not pleased with our defensive ability on the dribble, especially in terms of helping the guy guard the ball. But it was the first time all year long we were out-rebounded. So it's important that we get back to the Georgia Tech style on the glass, and that's getting some offensive rebounds and making sure we control our defensive glass. You lose the ACC's leading rebounder, and now everybody. It's not Daniel, it's not Q, it's not Cam, it's everybody. We need our guards engaged, and we need every tip-tap rebound we need to come up with.
Go ahead, Rob.
Have you got any prognosis yet on how the surgery went for Rob?
Yeah, and surgery went well in terms of the what they were trying to get done. They did not have to take out the meniscus, which is always a plus. And so what we're going to do is every time I meet with you guys, I'm not going to give you an update because it'd be 4 times a week. So over the next 3 weeks, we're going to figure out exactly where he's at. There's a very slight possibility he might be able to play this year. But in my opinion, we're going to err on the side of caution when you're dealing with a guy like Rob, who has such a bright future in front of him.
Is it a case where everybody's still kind of learning their roles with him not in there?
Well, I think we've had 60-some practices and played 13 games, with Rob playing 30 minutes a game, basically, especially in the games that were, challenging. And so that doesn't change overnight. We're evolving. I thought there was stretches, especially in that first half against Duke, where we really offensively kind of figured some things out. The one thing is, on the defensive end, we don't have 2 big bodies protecting the rim like we have in the past. With Daniel and Rob in there, and then Cam, and those 3 guys always fresh, we had great rim protection, and that allowed us sometimes not to give as much help on the perimeter. We're going to have to do, that's going to change. So there's an evolution on both ends of the court that we need to get comfortable with. Playing is going to be important, and then obviously our practice habits are going to be really important in terms of dressing them.
So many people talk about Notre Dame in football, but they had a lot to the conference in basketball too.
Oh, they've been tremendous. You look at what they've done the last 6 or 8 years in the Big East, and in the tournament and different things like that. Mike is, the thing I talked about with the addition of Notre Dame, Syracuse and Pittsburgh, and next year Louisville, you're not bringing in good teams. You're bringing in great programs. Those are 4 programs that are established. There's a style of play. There's a recruiting philosophy, and those guys are rock solid. And even that gives them the ability to kind of sustain things when you have a player go down. And I think you've seen that last year. They had one of their key guys go down, and they didn't miss a beat. So those are when that you're solid, when you can kind of go through that.
Nice to be home for 3 straight. You've opened up 2 on the road.
Yeah, it's, Coach Krzyzewski asked me, why you guys always play on the road to open up the season? I asked him to maybe ask someone else. But, it's been a tough go. We haven't been at home in a month because we ended the non-conference, at Vanderbilt and at Charlotte as well. So good to get home, no question about that. You know, we need a great home court advantage on Saturday, and we need to play well. There's no question about it. We understand our role in creating a great home court advantage.
I noticed you were working a little with Chris today. Have you noticed anything that needs to be changed in his stroke, or?
No. You know, just aggressiveness and confidence. And, you know, in the league, he's shooting 50%. He hasn't gotten enough shots, though. You know, hit a nice 3 to start off, you know, when he got in the game the other day. And then made a nice, you know, play towards the end of the first half as well. He just, you know, the most important thing is he knows that when he's open, he needs to shoot the ball for us and to do that with confidence and to play with great energy in other areas. It's amazing, you know, and that's part of the maturation process. When something that you do well isn't necessarily going well, what else do you bring? And that's not Chris, that's, you know, for everybody. And there's so many other things that guys can bring to the table. And what I found in my experience is when you start bringing those things to the table, all of a sudden shots start falling too. You know, I talked about that with Des Wells. You know, he's a guy that can miss 3, 4, 5 shots in a row, but because he's doing so many other things well, all of a sudden that gets him going offensively as well. And you know, part of the growth process encompasses that philosophy and that mentality.
Are you seeing any guys trying to do more than they need to with Robert not being in there?
That's always a concern. And I always say it's easier to tone guys down than to try to fire them up. But you know, that's important that we don't try to get out of ourselves. I mean, we need to defend better and rebound better and continue to move the ball. I thought there was some times, even in the second half of the Maryland game, now we missed a lot of those shots, where we did a good job of creating some open jump shots and open plays around the basket. And if we can continue to do that, that's going to, you know, help us down the road. And so we need to continue to do that. You know, you want to make sure guys are confident and aggressive, but also understanding exactly what we're looking for on the offensive end and where guys, you know, need to get shots and different things like that. Obviously, you know, our go-to players on offense, Marcus has done a great job, Trey's done a great job, and Daniel's done a great job. And I think those other guys understand that they need to find where they can really help us. Cam around the basket did a good job in the second half. We need that. We need that.
We talked last time about Jason having to play the 2-3 and stretch 4. What did you see him against?
I thought he did a lot of good things. You know, you can still see he's a little foot slow on the defensive end, which is going to come. But, you know, he gave us 20 solid minutes. Took good shots, was able to move the ball. You know, helped against pressure. You know, I thought Trey did an unbelievable job to play 38 minutes against Duke's pressure the whole game and have 1 turnover. And that, you know, obviously is a great testimony to him and his toughness. But I thought our other guys helping in that, in particular Jason and Marcus, were big key factors as well.
Is that something that Trey's getting more comfortable with now?
Well, yeah, you know, again, you know, we're entering his 16th game or whatever the case might be, and you know, new system and style and different things like that. But I thought he made some really good decisions in that game in terms of attacking the basket, getting the ball in the lane, kicking it out, dropping it off. He kept the ball moving, and you know, he very rarely, you know, in terms of he's aggressive to score, which is what we need. And he does a good job of taking high-quality shots for us.
You mentioned the style of play that the two former Big East schools are bringing to the conference. Are those schools like Notre Dame and Pittsburgh known as physical teams in the past? Do they have to change their style a little bit to play in this league?
Not one bit. Not one bit. Not one single bit.
Does that make you guys change your philosophy a little bit playing against them?
No, we have to be who we are, you know what I mean? And we have to, you know, rebound better and defend better than we did the other night. And offensively, we need to keep getting the ball inside and making plays for each other. That doesn't really change. Now, you know, you might see, you know, Notre Dame will play some zone. Obviously, Syracuse plays zone. Pittsburgh's playing more zone. But I think that's kind of across the board. So the transition from Big East to ACC, I don't think has not, in terms of getting acclimated to their style or vice versa, isn't an issue.
Particularly with Robert out, what do you need from Jason on a night-in, night-out basis?
We just need him to be really solid and keep getting his basketball legs underneath him. You know, it's the last 3 weeks has been the longest time that he's been on the court in the last 2 years, if you think about it. And he's still, you know, getting to rehab and stuff like that. It's, you know, there's still always going to be some soreness in that, but you know, keep knocking down open jump shots when he gets them, taking care of the basketball. And, you know, again, that versatility, being a senior, understanding every one of those roles, you know, because he has to change those roles according to where he's at.
Right.
If he's at the 2, that's different than not so much different than the 3, but a little bit. And then obviously when he goes to that stretch position for us, it's big change. You know, so he's physical enough. We need him, you know, being able to defend those guys and give us some more versatility out there on the defense and offensive end.
Can he be like a consistent threat from the perimeter shooting the ball?
I hope so. You know, I hope so. I mean, he hasn't taken a bunch of them
Right.
already in the 2 games, but I think he's 2 for 3 from the 3 right now. You know, and he knows if he's open and ready to shoot, he has a green light.
Do you foresee him staying in the starting lineup?
Say that
Do you
again?
foresee him staying in the starting lineup as he has been?
You know, again, we're evolving right now, so you know, we're not going to make any changes heading into this game. But again, it's more based, especially in the situation we're in right now. The starters and the subs may be more based on rotation and minutes that we need those guys to get. You know what I mean? So it's you know, if we need Jason to get more minutes at the 3 and the 4, then maybe he gets less minutes at the 2, and then maybe make a change. But we're not going to do anything right now.